Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the new moon in the sign of Scorpio happening on the 15th of November. And I have an update for all 12 zodiac signs as usual. Now, before we dive into the astrology, let me be your internet mom once again and tell you, please listen to the forecasts for both your sun sign and your rising sign, because you may actually find that you relate more to your rising sign horoscope in general, because that's where your natal chart starts, essentially. I also want to flag very early on, because I know a lot of people are asking this in the comments, my channel is a Western tropical astrology channel, so all my videos are Western astrology based only. And last but not least, because I also know you have this question for me, I use the whole sign house system. So before we dive into the updates for each sign, let's take a quick look at what the chart of the new moon looks like. So let's first talk about the symbolism of the new moon. A new moon brings with it a conjunction between the sun and the moon. Obviously, they're coming together in the sign of Scorpio, this time at 23 degrees of Scorpio. And a new moon ushers in a new chapter. So it's a chance for us to build something new, to start fresh, to start with a blank slate, and all the more so in the sign of Scorpio, which is symbolic of death and rebirth. So you can double down on the whole new chapter symbolism at this new moon in November. Gotta tell you, the 15th of November, the day of the new moon, is probably one of my absolute favorite dates of the month. And that is because the astrology is beautiful. Beautiful compared to what we have been experiencing throughout 2020. So, as I mentioned, the new moon is happening at Scorpio, at 23 degrees of Scorpio. The sun and the moon are going to be sextiling Jupiter and Pluto, and trining Neptune in Pisces. Mars is going to be direct. It's actually direct for one day at the time of the new moon. And last but not least, we have a square from Venus to Jupiter and Pluto at the time of the new moon. And you might be saying, oh, so is that good news? I'm like, yes, it's good news. Aspects from Venus are generally good news, regardless of whether they are flowing or challenging. Before the actual day of the new moon, we have also experienced already the final conjunction of the year between Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn. They will be conjunct exactly on the 12th of November, and they have already been conjunct beforehand on the 4th of April and on the 30th of June. So Jupiter, the planet that amplifies everything, Pluto, lord of the underworld, associated with death and rebirth, with the corporate world, also associated with money and power more specifically, and what is happening in the underground. So it's a time, the new moon is a time of resurrection. And I bet everyone is excited about the resurrection, because there has been a lot of darkness that the world has experienced this year. So without further ado, let us dive into the updates for each sign. My dear Aries, Aries sun and Aries risings, the new moon on the 15th of November is happening in your 8th house in the sign of Scorpio at 23 degrees of Scorpio. Obviously, the 8th house is associated with shared resources, with other people's money, with psychological transformation, with death and rebirth, more on a metaphorical level, let's put it this way. It's also associated with crisis, and you can say that the crisis is over, my dear Aries, at the time of the new moon. You will be feeling the energy of the new moon as early as the 12th of November, when Jupiter is exactly conjunct Pluto in Capricorn in your 10th house of career. You could say that very likely a crisis related to work is over. It's possible that the crisis was acting more on an internal level, on a psychological level, and you can finally breathe easily and say, all the work that I've been doing internally on myself is finally paying off. You could say that. Now, I also want to say this, if you have been waiting for news related to third-party investment, related to your partner's resources, I gotta tell you, it is likely to make its way to you around the 15th of November, give or take 3 days before, 3 days after. It's also very possible that you may be receiving some sort of like bonus or some sort of like appreciation from people in authority, from bosses around the 15th of November. And these signs of appreciation and acknowledgement, be them in a material form or an evocative kind of form, maybe it's like a verbal acknowledgement, are very likely to make you feel incredibly empowered, as if you have overcome one of the biggest hurdles on a personal level that you have had to deal with throughout the whole year. Last but not least, this is a time, the new moon in Scorpio is a time of intense revelations spiritually for you, my dear Aries. The reason why I'm saying that is because Neptune in your 12th house of dreams and intuition is in a trine with the new moon in your 8th house. And not to mention that the 8th house is also the house of gifts, so you may be receiving a significant gift from a source that you did not expect to gift you anything, Aries. Now, if you are a Taurus sun or a Taurus rising, the new moon is happening in your 7th house of marriage, partnerships, one-to-one committed relationships. And the 7th house is also the house of the other. So you may already be feeling the effects of the new moon 3 days before, 3 days after the 15th of November. You could say that you are absolutely starting off with a blank slate, a fresh new beginning with your partner at the time of the new moon, my dear Taurus. It can be that you decide to commit to a partner for the long term, and that you are starting to make plans together, because Neptune in your 11th house of long-term plans is gonna be in a fantastic aspect with the new moon. So you can envisage a future together for the partnership. It's also very possible that you may be finding in terms of business, the right partner for any sort of business endeavor that you may be involved in. And last but not least, I do want to say this. You may have been feeling incredibly anxious throughout this whole year, Taurus, in regards to various differences of mentality, of belief systems between you and a partner. And at the time of the new moon, Jupiter and Pluto in the 9th house of your belief system is going to be in a sextile aspect to the new moon in the 7th house. So it's as if you manage to bring together the mentalities of yourself and your partner and make them work together. If you are single, because I know some Taurians are going to say, I'm single, I don't care about all of these things. Gotta tell you, with a new moon in the 7th house of long-term committed partnerships and relationships, in a beautiful aspect with planets in the 9th house, which is also associated with society at large, you may very well meet someone who has the potential to become your long-term partner, my dear Taurus. You're feeling appreciated, you're feeling welcome in the world, you're feeling celebrated by the world, and it's a very social time. I do have to say this, Taurus, for you. Now, if you are a Gemini sun or a Gemini rising, the new moon in Scorpio on the 15th of November is happening in your 6th house, Geminis. So, what is going on? I have a few scenarios that are very likely to play out for you at the time of the new moon, 3 days before, 3 days after, Geminis. First of all, new job, new beginning, and it does seem to be very exciting. It can be news related to a new job or a new project that you may have thought would never go ahead, and it is finally going ahead. You are receiving the green light. It can be news of a promotion in your current workplace, Geminis, because Neptune in your house of career is trining the new moon in your sixth house of day-to-day work. And last but not least, I do have to say this, you may be feeling very proud of yourself for having overcome some big crisis in your health sector as well, most likely a crisis of a mental nature, but it may have been a health-related matter that was causing you stress and anxiety, and you may feel like you're finally reborn and you are leaving this chapter behind you. So Gemini, plenty of things to look forward to. I have to tell you this. Now, if you are a Cancer sun or a Cancer rising, the new moon is happening in your fifth house sector in Scorpio. The fifth house is associated with creative projects, romantic love, fun, and entertainment. Obviously, I'm like, yes, it's not all about love. It's also about fun. It's about being a child again. And I absolutely love the aspects that it is receiving. It's going to be a stellar day for you and period for you. 3 days before, 3 days after the 15th of November as well, Cancerians. You can say that, finally, you are seeing eye to eye with a romantic partner in terms of values. The reason why I'm saying that is because the sun, which is part of the new moon, is the ruler of your second house of values and income. And a partner seems to be involved in some way into the new moon because we have Jupiter and Pluto in your seventh house of partnerships sextiling the new moon in your fifth house. So it can be a fresh start for you, Cancerians, in the area of love. You can be committing to a romantic partner. You may be getting engaged. Some people who are single may be meeting someone who they fall in love with, and they can already hear the bells and whistles on the background. The new moon is also gonna be in a trine to Neptune in your ninth house of long distance travel. It's a fantastic opportunity, if you can take it, Cancerians, to travel with a romantic partner around the new moon time, or to make plans. It doesn't have to happen now. And last but not least, folks, Cancerians, you have been opposed by planets in Capricorn throughout this whole year. Take this time, take this period as an opportunity to decompress, to go out, to have fun, to go dancing. Neptune is in Pisces is dancing, and to go flirt and enjoy yourselves and live in the moment. It's a fun time, and it's not too good to be true, Cancerians. Believe it. Just go out there and enjoy yourselves. I'm going to be doing the same. Now, if you are a Leo sun or a Leo rising, the new moon is happening in your fourth house of home and family, and also your past and your roots and your residence, lovely Leos. So, gotta tell you this. You are entering a new chapter into your, when it comes to your home and family life. I'm very excited for this new chapter because I do see you receiving in some shape or form financing or external investment, an external source of money, a gift possibly, or a mortgage that you can put towards your home. The reason why I'm saying that is because the new moon is going to be trining Neptune in your eighth house of other people's money. There's also a sextile, which is another fabulous aspect to the new moon from Jupiter and Pluto in your sixth house of day-to-day work and health. I gotta say, if you had a parent who was struggling health-wise, you may hear fantastic news around the time of the new moon, 3 days before, 3 days after. And last but not least, if you have been putting any sort of family or home-related plans on hold because things were a little bit unstable at work, you can finally kind of like say, okay, things are stable. This is what things are looking like in my day-to-day work life. Now I can focus on what I want to accomplish in the home place, on what I want to build for my family, on whether I want to buy a new house, a new property, move, add a new member to the family. So it does seem like the two are linked, lovely Leos. Now, if you are a Virgo sun or a Virgo rising, the new moon is happening in your third house of siblings, communication, short distance travel, Virgos, and it is likely to be active 3 days before, 3 days after the 15th as well. So a very, very emotional new beginning related to one of your siblings, Virgos, is likely to be very much on the horizon. If you do have siblings, it's giving you peace of mind, this new beginning related to your sibling. It's good news in essence. It does seem to be very, very emotional because, after all, we are talking about Scorpio here. Now, I would also say that this is a time when you may realize that you are interested in learning more about a new topic. Something has piqued your curiosity, and you may embark upon a new course of learning, Virgos, that has gotten your mind all excited. What I also like about this new moon is the fact that it is sextiling Jupiter and Pluto in the 5th house. So it's a time when you may feel like you are communicating with a loved one better than ever. And it's also a time when you may feel very, very inspired and very curious to explore the creative topics that you're normally interested in, to spend more time diving into your creative passions. And you have the support of a partner. The new moon is going to be trine Neptune in your 7th house of partnerships. It can be that you have some sort of like mentor in a partner, or it can literally be someone in your life who you consider as your equal that is incredibly supportive and loving and has your back and kind of like creates the space for you to explore and dive deeper into this topic that you are so interested in. Last but not least, it's a time of socializing, Virgo. The third house is a time to, the third house is a place where you catch up with friends, with colleagues, where you go out and you meet people, where you may have interviews. You may embark upon a short trip, not outside of the country, inside your country, but after all, the third house is associated with short distance travel as well. Now, if you are a Libra sun and Libra rising, folks, I know you've been hit so hard. I feel so sorry for you because like things haven't been going great in your family life. Things haven't been going great financially either. And I got good news, Libras. There is a new chapter opening up for you financially and from a sense of self-worth and self-esteem point of view. It may dawn on you, finally, Libras, around the 15th of November, give or take 3 days before, 3 days after, that you have a fantastic skill that the world is willing to pay you for. And it may be that you are already stepping into a new financial chapter, so you may be welcoming into your life a new source of income around the 15th of November. It may also be that you realize, actually, I've got this skill and I need to monetize it, and they're both very powerful realizations. You're feeling empowered, you're feeling worthy, your sense of self-esteem is renewed, and you are ready to take on the world, Libra. And I know you needed it. Now, I really like the new moon because It's going to be sextiling Jupiter and Pluto in your fourth house of home and family. It is possible that you may be adding a new source of income to your roster that involves you working from home. The new moon is also trining Neptune in the sixth house of day-to-day work. So I do see you sinking your teeth into a work-related activity straight away. And last but not least, you may actually overcome a health-related topic that was making you feel like insecure, and maybe that's the wrong word to use, but that wasn't allowing you to fully enjoy your body because you were experiencing some sort of like illness or some sort of like confusion related to your health in general. And the fog is lifting around the new moon, my dear Libras. Now, if you are a Scorpio sun or a Scorpio rising, you are the stars, and I know you don't like to be center stage, but you're the stars of this new moon, people. Active 3 days before, 3 days after the 15th of November as well. It's happening in your first house of self, of identity, of how the world sees you, and of new beginnings. You may change your looks, Scorpios. You may change your style. You may change your attitude. You may change your approach to the world. And you may be finally ready to face the world and say, I've got this. I am ready to take a risk. I am ready to throw myself into a new project, into a new chapter, and I'm ready to leave behind, like the snake sheds its skin, the old me, your old life, I would say. Now, the sun is the ruler of your 10th house, and the sun is obviously involved in the new moon. And it's going to be sextiling Jupiter and Pluto in the third house of communication. So this is a fantastic time for a job interview, especially since Mars, the ruler of your sixth house of day-to-day work, is direct. It's also a fantastic time to network with others, to establish work relationships, or to establish relationships that you may later down the line use for work purposes. It's a great time to talk to people, to meet with people, to connect with them, be them live or online. I know you're going to say pandemic, Rux, don't forget about it. I haven't. And last but not least, the new moon is trine Neptune in your fifth house. You're feeling loved, you're feeling appreciated, and you are ready to have some more fun and to enjoy yourself, I would say, my dear Scorpio. Now, if you are a Sagittarius sun, or a Sagittarius rising, the new moon is going to be happening in your 12th house, which is associated with retreating from the world, spending time by yourself, taking a break, closing a chapter. Gotta tell you, you out of all people, Sagittarius, you may be the one who needs to rest at the time of the new moon the most. You've been working really hard, you've been pushing yourself, you've been burning yourself out in classic Sagittarius mode, covering as much ground as possible. Jupiter and Pluto, by the way. So whilst you're resting, Sagittarius, Jupiter and Pluto are going to be conjunct in your second house of values and income, and forming a beautiful aspect with the new moon. So the good news is, whilst you're resting, you may hear that there is new money entering into your life, and that you have a secret kind of like behind the scenes supporter and benefactor that is going to send work your way. And you're like, yeah, thank you. I'm not doing anything, but like the universe is looking after you, Sagittarius. As usual, Jupiter ruled, what can I say? And the new moon is also trine Neptune in your fourth house of home and family. So you may be taking time away from external, like public, professional matters, and spending time with your family, bonding with them, connecting with them, because the new moon is in Scorpio after all, and Scorpio is a water sign. You are feeling loved, you are feeling calm, you're feeling peaceful in your private life. And I gotta say, you may also be experiencing a revelation from a spirituality point of view, because the 12th house is also our connection with other realms, our higher self, divinity, and so on. Now, if you are a Capricorn sun or a Capricorn rising, folks, the new moon is happening in your 11th house. And this is exciting in the sign of Scorpio. And it is active 3 days before, 3 days after as well. I have to say, you may be entering a new group of people, of like-minded people around the time of the new moon, my dear Capricorns, and you are feeling very welcome, and you are feeling like you can be your true, authentic, sarcastic, no-nonsense self in their presence. There may be a new friend entering your life who's making you feel very good about yourself, who's giving you an additional sense of like empowerment and of feeling understood. I would also say this is a fantastic time, my dear Capricorns, because the new moon is trine Neptune in your 3rd house. This is a fantastic time to meet up with friends, to catch up with them, to discuss about plans for the future together. And it's generally a fabulous time for you to make plans for the future because you've been through hell and back, Capricorn. You've survived, you've come out of it stronger than ever, and you're feeling like there's nothing that can topple you anymore because you've dealt with everything that could have been sent your way. And you're actually true. that you're actually right. That's actually true. You get me. You get me, Capricorns. My dear Aquarians, Aquarius suns and Aquarius risings, the new moon is happening for you in the 10th house in the sign of Scorpio, the house of career, public reputation, and public status. Aquarians, fantastic new beginning for you career-wise. You're getting recognition, you're getting applause, your reputation is increasing career-wise, you are receiving acknowledgement in what you do. You may actually receive a very kind of like tangible public proof of recognition, such as a promotion, such as a big stellar new job, which takes you one step up the career ladder. I'm liking this new moon for everyone. I'm liking it for you in particular, my dear Aquarius siblings, because I'm an Aquarius sun as well. Because it is sextiling Jupiter and Pluto in your 12th house and trining Neptune in your 2nd house of money. So you've got people from behind the scenes who've got a hell of a lot of power supporting you, Aquarius, and kind of like pushing you to the top. And you may actually feel like you've got a guardian angel taking care of you career-wise, which is not very far from the truth with Jupiter transiting through your 12th house. And Neptune in your 2nd house is literally making your financial dreams come true. So if you do need to like negotiate and ask for a pay package around the time of the new moon, you are holding all the aces, Aquarius, so you can push it and you're probably gonna have your way. Just saying, siblings, just saying. Now, last but not least, if you are a Pisces sun or a Pisces rising, the new moon is happening in your 9th house in the sign of Scorpio, my dear Pisces. And it's obviously active 3 days before, 3 days after. It's going to be sextiling Jupiter and Pluto in your 11th house of friends and long-term plans, and trining Neptune in your 1st house. So, Pisceans, the 9th house is associated with the higher mind and with knowledge and wisdom and your belief system. So you may realize, because the new moon is happening in the sign of Scorpio after all, you may realize how your belief system has been renewed, how your belief system has changed, how you are feeling so much wiser than you have been beforehand. You may be seeing the world through new eyes. It's a very important mental new beginning, I would say, for you, my dear Pisces. Some Pisces may be actually taking exams or actually going through some sort of like formal recognition of their knowledge through at university and so on and so forth. You may be feeling like you have discovered God, or that you have a better... Max is saying hello, by the way, or that you have a better understanding of the idea of God and of what is important to you. Also, 9th house is associated with society, so you are spending time surrounded by friends, and you are seeing friends around you where there haven't been friends before. And if you are involved in any sort of like legal matters, The ninth house is also associated with the law, so you're probably going to come out winning, Pisces. I hope this has been helpful and insightful, my Astro family. If you want to dive deeper into your month or year ahead, just so you know, I offer both yearly and monthly forecasts, and you can purchase these types of personalized readings, which are the most accurate types of readings that you can get because they're based on your own natal chart. You can buy these from my website. I've left a link in the description box down below. Have a wonderful, wonderful new moon, and I shall see you soon.